Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're looking for a professional, animated course filled with beginner-friendly explanations about how your body actually works, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're tackling a topic that has confused grocery shoppers and dieters for decades: dietary fats and lipids. We're going to completely shift how you look at the food on your plate, because we are about to debunk some massive myths and transform fat from a feared foe into a biological friend.
For the longest time, the word fat was practically a curse word in nutrition, right? We've all seen the low-fat craze and the absolute demonization of anything containing oil or butter. But is fat really the enemy? What if I told you the science points in a completely different direction? Today, we're going to reveal that fat isn't an adversary at all. It's actually an absolutely essential, super dynamic fuel source that your body relies on every single day. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to meet the lipids, uncover the solid truth about saturated fats, explore healthy unsaturated oils, dive into the actual science of lipids, and finally, look at exactly why we need fats to survive.
Okay, let's jump right into Chapter 1, Meet the Lipids.
So what exactly is a lipid? Well, it's a family of organic compounds made up of fats and oils. But the really important part is their purpose. They act as a major storage form of energy and a primary fuel source in your body. Fats aren't just some indulgent extra sitting on your plate. They're biologically essential for good health. Your body actively uses fat as a vital engine to keep you moving, thinking, and just thriving.
But, not all fats wear capes. Let's move to Section 2, saturated fats, also known as the solid truth.
Now, when we talk about saturated fats, their defining physical trait is that they're usually solid at cool temperatures. Just think about a stick of butter sitting on your kitchen counter or the marbling in a steak. While they are super common, the scientific consensus reminds us that eating way too much saturated fat, it's simply not great for your health, mostly because an excess can cause some serious heart and blood vessel problems down the line.
So where are these saturated fats hiding out? Let's run through a few specific sources so you can kind of relate this to your own grocery list. We're looking at dairy heavy hitters: whole milk, butter, cheese, and ice cream. It's also in red meat and chocolate. And actually, this surprises a lot of people, but it's highly concentrated in some plant sources too, like coconuts, coconut milk, and coconut oil. It's really just about being aware of where these solid fats are hanging out.
All right, let's meet the true heroes of our story in Section 3, unsaturated fats, the healthy oils.
Comparing these two categories is an absolute game changer for your daily diet. While saturated fats are mostly from animal sources, solid at cool temperatures, and linked to heart problems, our unsaturated fats are basically the exact opposite. They're usually liquid at room temperature. Think of the olive oil in your pantry. They mostly come from plant and fish sources, and most importantly, they are genuinely healthy for your body. As a general rule of thumb, plant-based fats are better for you than animal-based ones, simply because animals contain much higher levels of those saturated fats. Visualizing this contrast is actually a fantastic memory trick. When you think of the good unsaturated fats, picture liquid oils, avocados, nuts, and seeds. And for the bad, saturated fats, picture those solid blocks of butter, heavy baked goods, and ice cream. Keeping those two distinct categories in your head just makes navigating the grocery store a whole lot easier, right?
Now let's break this down even a bit further, because unsaturated fats come in a few different flavors, so to speak. First up, we've got monounsaturated fats. You'll find high concentrations of these in healthy oils like olive, peanut, and canola, plus avocados, almonds, and sesame seeds. Then we have polyunsaturated fats, which are super concentrated in things like sunflower oil, walnuts, flax seeds, and fish. But here is the really crucial one: omega-3 fats. These are a massively important type of polyunsaturated fat. Why? Because your body physically cannot make them on its own. They're essential, which means you absolutely must get them from your food, primarily through fatty fish like salmon and mackerel.
All right, let's step out of the kitchen for a second and into Section 4, the science of lipids. To truly understand fat, we kind of need to look at its chemical properties. Lipids are a heterogeneous group of compounds mostly made of hydrocarbon chains. They are distinctly nonpolar, oily, or greasy molecules. Now, what does nonpolar actually mean for you? Well, it basically means they are totally insoluble in water, because water is a polar molecule. It's that classic rule: water and oil just do not mix. Because of this, lipids require specific nonpolar solvents to dissolve. And inside our amazing bodies, these molecules are synthesized right in the liver and then securely stored away in our adipose tissue for whenever we need a burst of energy.
But here's the crazy part, they don't just sit around in storage. One of the most crucial biological jobs of lipids is that they actually form the mechanical barrier that divides a living cell from its external environment. We call this the cell membrane. Just think about that for a second. Without lipids, your very cells wouldn't even have protective boundaries. They literally hold the building blocks of your body together.
Which brings us to our final chapter, Section 5, Why We Need Fats. When it comes to our food, fat plays an incredible symphony of roles. It affects appearance, emulsions, flavor, heat transfer, melting point, nutrition, satiety, and shortening. Fat is literally the magic ingredient that makes our meals look glossy and appetizing, creates those rich flavors we love, cooks things evenly, and maybe most importantly, provides satiety. That's that amazing feeling of being totally, satisfyingly full after a good meal. And internally, the work doesn't stop. Inside your body, fat acts as vital insulation. It maintains your body temperature, keeping you warm, but it also acts as a structural, physical support for highly delicate organs like your heart, kidneys, and intestines. It is, quite literally, your body's ultimate biological shock absorber.
All of this really brings us to the core thesis of this entire explainer. Fats are an essential part of our diet and is important for good health. A moderate amount is needed. Fat is not the enemy, guys. It's an absolute necessity. The real secret to the whole puzzle is just choosing the right kinds, those healthy, liquid, plant-based, unsaturated fats, and consuming them in moderation.
So, as we wrap up this journey into nutrition, now that you've unlocked the science of lipids and you genuinely know the difference between healthy oils and solid saturated fats, how are you going to fuel your body's cells at your very next meal? Are you going to reach for the solid fats, or will you power your complex biology with the healthy, unsaturated fuel it actually craves? The choice is literally on your plate. Thanks so much for learning with us today.